Hi everyone, in today's soap tutorial we're going to be doing a rainbow themed soap. I kind of had a fun idea to do something with the rainbow. I feel like everybody loves rainbow soaps, they're just so much fun. So for the first part of the tutorial I am just going to be cutting down enough soap to get 4 ounces in each container that I'm going to use. I'm going to use all the different colors of the rainbow, but I just want to go ahead and cut everything down and get it prepped so that way I don't get confused or forget anything and I have plenty of time to work with everything. So the reason why I'm doing 4 ounces is because the mold that I'm going to use, it actually has a 4-ounce cavity for 1 bar of soap, and I think that will be adequate amount of soap pieces to get the design that I'm looking for. And if you're curious of what soap base I'm using for this tutorial, it is just the Crafter's Choice clear or extra clear glycerin base. The fragrance oil that I used kind of discolored some of the pieces a little bit, which is not a big deal. If you use a different fragrance oil, I'm sure these colors would come out even brighter. So that is just one thing to keep in mind when you make melt and pour soap. So if you're curious to what colors I'm using, I am using all colorants from Nurture Soap. I love using all the micas. If you're new to melt and pour soap making, I highly recommend micas in general just because they don't fade and they don't bleed in your soap making process. So you can have nice designs that you know will kind of like the color will last and hold up. You don't have to worry about any of that nonsense. The only thing with micas is they can be a little bit trickier to mix into your soap, but I usually don't have any problems with it. So these are the colors I'm using. This is just what I had on hand. I kind of wish I had a more vibrant red, but again, reds are kind of hard. So after I had melted everything down, I went ahead and started adding all the micas. I just took a tiny little scoop that I used my little scooper, spritz it with rubbing alcohol, and then make sure everything was mixed in really well and fully incorporated, and then put just enough. We want to do each color is 1 cavity. And then once it's all poured in the mold, I went ahead and let this sit for about 4 hours to make sure the bars of soap were pretty hard. And once they were hard, I went ahead and did the next step. I just wanted to show a close-up of how beautiful the colors look as they're setting up. I just poured them all a few minutes ago, so it'll be a while and then I'll come back to the next step. So several hours have passed and now I can take the soap out of the mold and get started on the next process of the project. Basically what I did was I took all of these bars of soap and I just went one by one and cut them in half, and then I went ahead and cut them down quite a bit more. I think I started off with like 4 or 5 little slits, and then some of them I went back at the end because the chunks looked a little bit large for the design I wanted to do, and when I was setting it up in the mold I thought that it would be better if they were smaller. So a few of these I kind of cut and then I went back and cut again. Basically what I wanted though was just a bunch of narrow, long slivers to put in the soap. So I thought that would look nice once it was all done. And if you guys love making rainbow soap and you have any kind of questions or you've made your own rainbow soap, I want you to go ahead and leave a comment down below. Are rainbow soap something that you sell a lot of? Is it a big hit for you? Or like, why are you inspired to make rainbow soap? Just go ahead and leave a comment down below. I think that would be a fun topic to talk about. And you know, I think it just keeps the soaping community fun when we all share, you know, ideas and stuff like that. So here's a close-up shot of all of the soaps. I just wanted to show you guys, not all of the pieces are the same size, but you can see what they look like. And I just love looking at all this cut up soap just the way it is. So I was getting really excited when I was making it when I got to this point in the soap making process. For the next part, I went ahead and used a 1 pound mold. You can find these on Amazon or just about anywhere. This one's pretty sturdy, and I like it because it's got ridges on the end, so I recommend that mold. I also melted down a little bit more of the clear soap base, and I'm going to head and adding some fragrance oil to the soap. And like I said, this fragrance oil discolored a little bit. I believe it's called something like Bamboo and Lilies by Crafter's Choice. It just smells very kind of like floral, fruity, almost citrusy notes in there. So I thought it would be suitable for this soap design. I also am adding a little bit of holographic glitter just to give it a little extra pizzazz. I went ahead and kind of sprinkled the soap mold just to get it in there, and then I went ahead and added into the additional melt and pour soap that I had. And you can see even in the little container I have there that the soap's a little bit like yellowish tint, and that is because of the fragrance oil. So once I added that in, I wanted to make sure the soap was really cool. So you kind of want to wait till the glitter's floating or you're seeing a skin, signs of that. That way you know it's nice and cold. And I just went ahead and poured down a thin line, like a base. I would say probably like 1 ounce, maybe at the most. Then I made sure all of my pieces were spritzed. You can go ahead and score your pieces if you want. It should help hold the soap together. But for this design and like as many little pieces there were, I did not do any scoring to the soap. I just went ahead and started like lightly placing these in. Some of them were kind of hard to stand up, so I just kind of did the first row the best I could, and then once that row was in, I just went ahead and started filling in with all the other colors. I tried to make sure that there were like little gaps in between each piece because I really wanted the like clear glittery portion to shine through the soap. I thought it would give it a cool effect with the rainbow. So that's kind of what I was looking for when I was putting this together. Okay guys, once you get everything placed in there really well, you do want to go ahead and start pouring in more of the clear soap base. And you want to keep it as low of temperature as you can. You're going to need to look at your soap base and see what the actual melting point is and keep it as closest to that temperature wise. Or, you know, if it just feels like it's cooling down and you can see a skin forming, you're usually pretty safe. I was taking my spatula in each little section because I kept having to melt down more soap because I wasn't sure exactly how much to use. And just taking that spatula and kind of spreading the little pieces apart to make sure that like I wasn't getting any weird air pockets and the soap was like sort of flowing around all of the edges of the mold. So that is something to keep in mind if you're doing any sort of like loaf mold or anything. I don't think you'll have as much issue as if you did like a single cavity mold. This would just be entirely different. So that was just something to keep in mind. You want to make sure that the clear soap is getting to all areas because otherwise if not you'll have like large pockets of holes where there is no actual soap. Once all this soap was poured, I went ahead and let it sit for about another 4 to 6 hours, and this soap was a labor of love, but you know what? I am amazed with how it turned out. I absolutely love the little rainbow theme, and if you guys like this soap, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, and thank you guys for watching.